It's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, March 24th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown, so if you are someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving around and changing. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one, taking a look at RNAZ, absolutely crazy mover today, and one that you got to think a lot of people will still be interested in going into Monday. So in the very near term, in terms of resistances, key level there are going to be that pink line, which on my chart denotes a very well-known, very famous 200 period moving average. Right now, currently valid at, let's just call it $1.25. So like I said, near-term resistance, $1.25. And then from more of an overarching standpoint, in regards to levels of resistance, have a key level up here. Oops, let's make that. Well, can you tell it's Friday? There we go. Next key level up there right around $1.55. And there are no guarantees, but in my opinion, a good high volume break of that pink line there, I think gives it a good chance to at least go up there and retest 155. Again, I'm not saying that's guaranteed to happen, but I can see it being a very plausible outcome if you can get, again, that high volume break of the pink line. If the price does pull back some more, then an area that I would certainly consider a must-hold area in terms of areas of support would be that purple line there, the 50 period moving average right now valued at, we'll call it 91 cents. Because if the price, I'm not saying this will occur, but just for explanation's sake, if the price were to come down there and then break down below there, all of a sudden at that point, you have the price having gone right back to where it was. And I mean, not to insult your intelligence, but price movements that make great moves and all of a sudden go right back to where they were, not exactly a sign of genuine strength. Again, I'm not saying that's what's going to occur, but that is why, in my opinion, that level there, very, very important for support. But we'll see how it all goes next week. Next one here, IBO, and a very, very nice pattern here. So as I draw this pattern into play, please don't think that I'm trying to impress you or trying to imply that this is some sort of great discovery or special skill on my part. I assure you, a lot of people have drawn this pattern. And I say that because when a lot of people are watching the same patterns and wondering the same thing, let me change that to green to represent sport. But again, watching the same patterns, wondering the same things, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want. It can produce some very dynamic movement. So the pattern we have here is, let me just keep it one color now so we can make sure that everybody sees it. So that is the resistance portion of it. Here is the support part of it. And then we have that big upwards move right there. And then for you golfers out there trying to make it a little bit more visual, put the golf hole down here. This would be a bull pennant pattern. Now, just because something's bullish does not mean for sure or guaranteed it's going to go upwards. But would it be shocking? Would it be crazy if the price consolidated out and then, got up through there? And then with that break right there, would it be shocking if that created more upside buying pressure? Again, not guaranteed to happen, but I don't think anybody would be shocked by that. So at the end of the day, if you like this price range down below $10, you like bull pennant patterns, here you go. Next one here, HOLO. And overall, I mean, the chart's fine, but it has started to lose a little bit of its attractiveness because as of now, as I speak, the price has broken down below that pink line, which you now know is a 200 period moving average. And again, does that destroy everything? I wouldn't say that because the muscle level is going to be that purple line, as I'll discuss in a moment. But it has kind of shooken things up here where, yeah, it's not quite as attractive as how it once was. But the sooner the price can get back above that pink line, the better from just kind of an overall appearance standpoint. Because the longer the price stays down below that pink line, the more and more nervous are people going to get. And that's not what you want. You don't want to see people nervous. You want to see people confident. And had it just been able to, bounce up above that area, then people would be confident because they'd be saying, hey, it's a pullback, but it is still respecting that 200 period moving average. But that can't be said here. So again, not the end of the world, but not as great as what it could be looking like. And then as far as the muscle level, same logic that I just talked about. Purple line there, 50 period moving average valued at 79 cents. Because again, it just goes with the logic that price movements that make really nice moves, and then all of a sudden go back to where they started, not exactly a sign of genuine power. So same logic there in terms of why the 79 cent mark would be so important. So overall, yes, the chart's hanging in there, just not quite looking as good as what it could have had it stayed above that pink line. Next one here, TSLL, very nice move, and this will mean a little bit more to those of you that have been watching past videos, but hopefully if you have, you remember that I was talking about this as an area of resistance at the $8.55 mark, and you can see earlier on in the day, yeah, the price struggled with it, but then finally did get the break of it, and a very, very nice follow-through move after that. So updates definitely need to be done. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that level. as it's served its purpose for now. First key update is just based on a foundational rule in charting, which states when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. So if you were to ask, hey Clay, what would make this chart look the absolute strongest moving forward? Definitely if the price can stay up above $8.50 moving forward. With that being said, if the price falls below there, that doesn't mean the entire chart's destroyed or ruined or anything like that. Because from the overarching standpoint, just watch a purple line there, the 50-period moving average. Keyword being moving. So as time goes by, that line is going to move itself higher and higher. So from an overarching standpoint, as long as the price stays above that purple line, that implies the price is building higher lows, and higher lows just suggest that the price is not necessarily going straight up, but it is still making progress forward. So keep an eye on those couple areas from the support side of things. In terms of areas of resistance, big battleground to keep an eye on next week. Going to be right up here at the 935 mark. And then also, not that far away from 935, we have the pink line there, the 200-period moving average. So up around this general area could be basically a double whammy of resistance. Doesn't mean that the price can't push through it, but if the price is going to push through it, then the bulls really are going to need to bring their A game. But all in all, very nice way to close out the week. Next one, NVDA, and really not a whole lot to discuss on this one. All the lines that I've talked about previously still do pertain. In the very near term, the levels that stand out the most that are relevant is you have the pink line there, 200-period moving average so far is indeed acting as support, like you can see right there. And then on the flip side of things, you have the 50-period moving average, that purple line, which is indeed to an extent acting as resistance, which you saw there, and then several times more right there. But that's very near term. That's looking at just today. But when you take a step back and look at multiple days, then yeah, nothing has really occurred. The price is still down below this trend line here. The price is still within the overall sideways channel. The sideways channel having the top of it up here at 121.90, bottom of it down there at 114.50. So from that angle of things, yes, nothing has changed from a big picture standpoint in terms of overall movement. So from that angle, kind of a just again, and it's always hard because I got to talk about multiple strategies. But if you're a day trader, then yes. From a day trading standpoint, I mean, you had to move down, you had to move up here, now you had this move back down there. So plenty of opportunities from a day trading standpoint. But taking a step back and looking at multiple days, again, not a whole lot of movement, not a whole lot to talk about because the price is still within all these overarching areas. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering next week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down below in the description area you can use to sign up. Or if you're watching at my website, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can use to sign up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and this will mean a little bit more to those of you that watched a previous video, but if you did, congratulations, especially for those of you that were watching that trend line that I drew out and that played the breakout right there. You got paid very, very nicely, and then if you held through this pullback, you got paid once again. So overall, very, very impressive movement, and then just the power of charts, because if you did watch the video, then hopefully remember me talking about that break there and how that was the next key overarching level, and when you know it, look at, the power of charts, amazing. Absolutely amazing that the trend line there, and if you don't believe that that line has already been there, I'm not offended at all. I realize I could be a stranger. Just go back in the video archive, watch past Tesla videos that I've done, and you'll see that this trend line has been in place, and boom, just like that, it is still currently acting as resistance. But as of now, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all these lines as they serve their purpose for now, because now moving forward, two key battlegrounds you got to think most people will be watching. First one, as we've already talked about, that resistance line right there. But even if the price does break above there, I'd be a little skeptical because not that far away, you have the pink line there, 200-period moving average, which could very realistically act as a resistance too. But if the price can clear through both of these areas, that would certainly be a very impressive sign on the bull's part. From more of an overarching standpoint, as I've talked about with some of the past charts, just from a kind of an overarching standpoint, watch that purple line there, 50-period moving average. So as it moves higher and higher, as long as the price stays above the quote-unquote trend line that's drawn itself for you, then the overall bulls are still in full control. Next one, ALUR, and very, very nice pattern on this one. Going back to that whole idea, as I draw this, please don't think I'm trying to impress you or anything like that. Got to think a lot of people have drawn that trend line. So if we want, we can call it one of those self-fulfilling prophecy trend lines where no guarantees, but if a lot of people are watching the same area, wondering the same things, more than valid to think that if the price can come up there and break up through it, that break in and of itself could very well create additional buying pressure. So keep an eye on that if you enjoy playing breakouts. And then from the flip side of things, in terms of levels of support, we have this area down here. So again, green for support. And then just to map out the overall pattern again, just because I can't help myself, let's keep it all one color here. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the big move up right there, and we have our golf hole down here. So overall, we have ourselves another bull pennant pattern. Next one here, NIO, and very, very rough day on this one as the price actually broke down through both these areas of support that I had mapped out previously. So what I want to do here is do a little cleanup, and we'll get rid of that line there. You could still totally leave it and call it a resistance, but just from I don't want to create clutter and confusion because there's lines everywhere. So just from like I said, just a logistics standpoint, we'll just focus on that pink line there being now the new key area of resistance, because that was the key area of support going into today. And when levels of support are broken, they tend to act as resistance. So keep an eye on that pink line there, right now valued at $4.70. So if there is any sort of attempted bounce, then yes, that level right there is certainly going to be the key level that you'll want to see if the price can fight up through. In terms of areas of support, I'm going to go ahead and adjust this down a little bit so we can give a little bit of leeway, but make that $4.45. Very important level for the reasoning that you've already heard me talk about previously. We do have a nice bounce underway, but if this bounce all of a sudden goes back to where it was, and quote unquote back to where it was, I'm defining as breaking down below 445, then as we've already discussed, not exactly a sign of true strength when a price movement makes a great bounce and then all of a sudden goes right back to where it started. So again, not saying that's what's going to occur, but that is why 445 I would consider a very important level. So overall, rough day here. To be fair though, nice little bounce underway. Can the price build upon this momentum next week and show some signs of progress? We'll see what happens. Next one, PLTR, and very, very nice way to close out the week, especially when you factor in the rough start it had. I mean, it gapped down. Price was all the way down here, so it had gone down through that area of support, was even approaching the 200 period moving average of support, but then in that same 30-minute candle, recovered back upwards, and now as I speak, is pushing towards highs during the last 30 minutes of the day, and the market closes here in about 7 minutes. So who knows? Maybe the price ultimately gets to new highs. In the next 7 minutes, we'll see. But overall, we'll get rid of that line now as it served its purpose. And first key update, as I've said, when levels of resistance are broken and close above, you want to see them act as support. So ideally speaking, in terms of what would make this chart look the healthiest moving forward, definitely staying above 88.50, but taking a step back. And again, I'm going through this quicker because you've already heard me say all this stuff. Just use that purple line there, 50 period moving average. So as that line moves higher and higher, as long as the price stays above there, then the overall trend, the overall flow of things, still plenty in the bull's favor. Now, what about next potential battlegrounds and areas of resistance? Got to squeeze things down here a little bit because it is now approaching a key level, or is it already above there? Nope, it's battling with it right now. Okay, so this 90.50 is actually a very, very interesting level because as you look back here through the history of things, you can see right there, rejected the price, rejected the price, rejected the price. And right now you can see the price is currently struggling with that area. So continue to watch that, but if the price can push up through there, next key level of resistance after that, right up there around at $93.60. But anyway, look at it. Now, and I guess technically speaking, right there it is poking its head above that level. Will it be able to maintain above it? We'll see if that can occur on Monday. Next one, XHLD, and a little bit of case of deja vu in the sense of previously this one had made a great move and then had a bit of a pullback, and all of a sudden, great move and a bit of a pullback, although the second pullback here, not as deep as that one. But overall, assuming you care about the bigger picture point of view, it's been doing what you would want to see from a trend building standpoint. It's putting in these higher lows, it's putting in higher highs, and again, from a trend building standpoint, you really can't ask for much more. But a more of a simplified way, no pun intended, to track all that, as I've been talking about, is just continue to watch our good friend, the 50 period moving average. Because as you know, as long as the price does stay above there as time goes by, I lost track of my cursor. Sorry about that. I was like, where'd my cursor go? But as time goes by, that line will just move itself higher and higher, and you know the routine. And that's exactly what it's been doing. So that's why I continue to point at that at other videos, because this is what I mean. Price originally got above it. It went through some pullbacks, but notice none of the pullbacks ever even violated that purple line. So nothing can go straight up. Pullbacks are part of it. So just continue to use that purple line as your guide. And then in terms of areas of resistance, I'd say the pretty straightforward one, at least in my opinion, and not very much rocket science here, but just essentially right up there at about $1.84. You can see 3 times in a row, the price tried to get up through there and the momentum just could not sustain itself. So $1.84 will be the next key battleground if this thing can work its way back upwards. But again, from the big picture standpoint, it's been putting in higher highs, it's been putting in higher lows, and that's the name of the game. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. Like I said, it'll be next week, Thursday, March 27th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, so I hope to see you there. As far as the top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, please hit that like button, and if you're looking for a super free and easy way to support the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button, as it really does help out. So thanks for watching, take care, have a great weekend, and make sure you get signed up for the free class.